And like I said, I cried. Okay, the next is Shireen. Shireen?
Hello, ma'am. So my name is Shireen Gupta, and I study in class 5 in Singapore. So my question is, it is the season of exams, and we're busy in the pursuit of marks. With help from everybody around us, higher marks will bring us success and certify us as geniuses, as has been told to us who followed the same path in earlier generation. Arjun Basan, a certified genius, doesn't get high on the marks ladder. Will he not be successful?
Oh, so we are talking about the secret diary of the world's worst genius.
World's worst genius.
Arjun Basan. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Please go
Yeah,
ahead.
oh, you have a copy of it, Manan? Did you just show? The secret diary of the world's worst genius. I was not a genius. I am not. I never will be. I never was. But children had said to me that they wanted me to write a book about pressure that parents and families put and on the importance of marks. I had experienced that. I was a very poor student. And I would, if I did well in theater, I won a prize for as best actress or something like that somewhere. The teachers would always say to me, if only you, well, congratulations, but if only you were as good in your studies. It would really crush me. Until I realized that it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. If I can be good at whatever I'm good at. And geniuses are not only recorded by numbers and good marks in academics. You can be a genius in many things. And so that's what I wanted to bring about. Because I'll tell you what, I'll share a secret. I feel I should have written a better ending. When I reread the book and I was reading it out to students, I was a bit disappointed in myself because I felt as though I didn't know how to finish it. And so I just finished it. And I felt I took a shortcut, which I've never done before or after. So I really wish I could rewrite this book. But children have said that they love what the ending was. So who am I to judge? I don't know.
Nothing succeeds like success. So I think we're good. I think we're coming to the last question for the session. And that's from Pooja ji. And after that, if any of the attendees would like to ask a question from Paro ma'am, you can just raise your hand and we can go forward with that. But Pooja Pandey, could you just unmute yourself and then you can...
Hi. Hi. Thank you, Richa. First and foremost, heartiest congratulations on completing 100 episodes. So I think that is really commendable. And Paro ma'am, my question to you is that there are some children who are born into terrorism. It is a reality for them. That is what they have seen it all, right? And there are others who are away from this fact of terrorism, and they are made to ignore about the terrorism, and adults generally brush it under the carpet. They don't want to talk about it. How do we bring children from both these totally contrasting worlds to understand each other?
Wonderful question. When I was reading out No Guns at My Son's Funeral and We, which is the family of a terrorist, a girl in Bombay said, I always knew that people are dying in Kashmir. I never thought that people live there too. And I thought that was such a poignant way of putting across what I had been trying to say in a whole novel, or in 2 novels that I'd been trying to say. Children, I work a lot with young people in difficult circumstances, whether it's children with disability or children growing up in conflict or extreme poverty or tribal areas. I try and work some of my time with those children. And they all say that they want their stories told. I get them to do some writing and they say, "Nay, you write our stories. We want our stories to go out there." I'll tell you, in this book, Like Smoke, which is the book that won the Sahitya Academy Award, I have a story, and the very first story actually starts with the words, "I hate Muslims." That's kind of a shocking way for a book for children to start or say or anything. It's not what Paro Anand feels. I have a Kashmiri son. I've adopted a Kashmiri young man now. He's in his 30s and about to become a father. But I have been with him since he was 12. And so I hate Muslims is not something that I would ever think to say. It's something that I heard in a Delhi school. In break time, some child outside saying, "I hate Muslims." And those words came like an arrow to my heart. And I leaned out to see who said this and what's going on. And there was this girl, about 12 years old. She had said this. Her group of friends were all nodding and agreeing, yes, that they hated Muslims too. I saw one boy standing alag se, pale-faced and rooted to the spot. He was a Muslim boy. And these children had not even bothered to lower their voice to say this. And so I knew I had to write that story. And I wrote about it of this young girl who is a Kashmiri Pandit girl, a Hindu girl, whose father is killed. And she's told in Kashmir, and she's told that he's been killed by a Muslim bomb. And so she's brought up to hate Muslims. And they leave the city. They come to a new city. They leave Kashmir. They come to a new city. And there she goes to a new school. And there's this boy. And he's really good looking. And she has immediate butterflies in her stomach and a crush on him and everything. And they sort of are falling in love until she discovers he's Muslim. And then she pedals back and she's angry. And he asks her, "I don't know why you're angry. What I don't understand is why you're angry at me." And she says that my father was killed and he was killed by a Muslim bomb. So he says in reply that all Muslims are not terrorists and bombs don't have a religion. At the end of reading this story in a school in Jaipur, one boy stood up and he said, "I'll agree with what you said in the book that all Muslims are not terrorists, but you'll have to agree with me that almost all terrorists are Muslims." And what do you have to say about that? It was a 12-year-old boy speaking, little fellow. And the first thought was, how does he know to even say this? Where has he got this from? And I realized that, how much along with khana and dinner and everything, we're also feeding our children hatred and discrimination. I was lucky that an answer came to me on the spur of the moment. Some, higher being said, "Paro, say this." And the answer was, I said, okay, let's put aside religion for a moment. let's think of a more serious, no, let's think of another thing altogether. Let's think of the crime of rape. And the teachers were kind of shocked that I'd used the word rape in the school. I asked the students, these were class 7 and above, up to senior school. I asked them if they knew what rape was, and they all said yes, they did. Of course they did. So I said, look, of course we can all agree that all men are not rapists. But you'll have to agree with me that almost all rapists are men. So then by your logic, let's hate all men. Let's not give them jobs. Let's not give them our homes on rent. Let's not admit them to our schools. Let's not let our children be friends with them. No girls to be friends. Let's shun boys. I said, beta, I don't even know your name, but I'll hate you. Why? Because you're a potential rapist. Does that agree with you? Does that sit well with you? And his hands were fists. And I was nose to nose with him. And I almost thought he may hit me because I had called him a potential rapist. Bari sabha mein, pure school ke samne, teachers ke samne. But suddenly, he started to clap. And the whole auditorium got up and clapped. And I got a standing ovation. And this boy said, I finally understand what? I finally understand the logic of what you said. So that's how children get to know about stories of others. Not only children in conflict situations in Kashmir. I have a book called The Other. Why do we find it so difficult to include someone into our hearts, into our circles, into our minds? Yeah. I hope that answers your question. I keep thinking I'll give a short answer and then I go on and on.
No, but that's perfect, ma'am. Thank you very much. And honestly, I think I will not, it's difficult to give you a standing ovation, but I think that's an absolutely wonderful answer and kind of sums up everything very well. And that's the last question for the day.
Excuse me, can I ask a question? That's not much.
Please, Sana, but let's keep it short today.
Yeah. So,
And I will too. Yeah.
so recently I did my English exam and we had a composition part of it and we have to write our own composition. Right? And it's marked around 8 marks. So I remember one of my friends writing about this wonderful story about this imaginary place and everything. And my teacher told her that yes, it is a great story, but it does not, the writing is horrible. And she didn't get more than like 3 marks. The point was that my question to you is like, can you actually mark or like judge a person's imagination by a green pen and 8 marks? Can you, I mean, how everybody writes is different. Some writers write whole paragraphs about the same thing, and some change things in every single paragraph. So maybe, and when I read that composition, I thought that was the most brilliant fiction short story I had ever read. So, how do you make these kind of educational prospects of our schooling system about imaginary uh, characters and compositions, these kind of things, actually judge uh, accurately about uh, someone's potential? How do you do that?
Yeah, well, first of all, I would never, ever, in my wildest dreams, call somebody's creative work. I also had people tell me I had been awarded, I'd been given an award by the Russian government, and I had a party and everything. And somebody who considered herself a much better writer, and I think she was a bit unhappy that she hadn't got that award, but I had. So for the party, she gave me a gift, which was how to write English properly. And I think, in life, you've got to also develop a slightly thicker skin. And if it works for your friend who wrote that, then it worked. And sometimes in the educational system, okay, you've got to toe the line, two and two just has to make four, and there's no way about it. But certainly for for an essay, it should never have been called horrible. Um, you can give suggestions. That's what a good editor should do. I get suggestions from editors, and sometimes younger editors feel nervous about telling me that I need to change something in a story, which I don't think is the right thing. An editor's job or a teacher's job is to help sort of polish that diamond and make it shine. Certainly not to call it horrible. So keep writing. And I was rejected a whole lot before I got my first book published. J.K. Rowling, as I said, was rejected 7 times. And in fact, do you know that she was told to publish the writer's name as J.K. Rowling, because they said otherwise boys will not read the Harry Potter books if it's written by Joanne K. Rowling. And so she agreed to J.K. Rowling, but now she writes as Joanne K. Rowling. Boys, would you have read it if it was Joanne K. Rowling instead of J.K.?
100%.
Yes.
Yes,
Krish?
100%. Yes,
Yeah.
because the author's name doesn't bother me much. I like the plot of the book.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
think our
Yeah.
boys are a lot more progressive than the editors gave them credit for. So that's wonderful.
Exactly.
Thank
Yeah.
you, boys,
Yeah.
for your vote of confidence. We really appreciate it. And so that brings us to the end of this session. Thank you, everyone, for hanging around for so long, despite the hacking and everything. And thank you, ma'am, for a wonderful, wonderful session. What we are going to do next, and this is going to be
I
a treat
wanted
for
to say,
everyone.
Richa, sorry to jump in, but before we end, I wanted to say a huge congratulations for the 100th episode and a huge thank you for asking me to be a part of it.
Thank you very much, ma'am. It has been a wonderful, wonderful session. And hopefully, soon, sometime in the near future, we will have a physical session with you where everyone can meet you face to face. So that will be perfect if you permit us. So, and thank you, everyone, for being a wonderful audience, very insightful questions, and equally insightful answers. Thank you, and we shall see you soon. Bye bye, and good night.